The WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest. Now, it was the final ingredient for the perfect storm. This injury gave the WNBA the data they need to prove that pretend basketball is 100% reliant on one player.
As Commissioner Kathy Engelbert watches her league's meticulously crafted popularity fall apart like a house of cards in a windstorm, the WNBA finds itself at the center of a ratings disaster. The harsh reality of why Caitlin Clark, the league's most prized asset, has been benched is now evident. The WNBA is rapidly reverting to its pre-2024 level of insignificance on Clark's absence.
Their season. And the craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlin Clark is how it's been covered. The day after she had the groin injury, she was listed as day-to-day. And then a couple weeks after that, then she was listed to being out indefinitely. Now, ESPN had August 12th as the circled return date for Caitlin Clark to get back onto the court. And just yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, like, no, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out. This has been all over the place.
Furthermore, the statistics are really awful and don't lie. National broadcast viewership for WNBA games has dropped by an astounding 55% after Clark's May 24th quad injury. Prior to her injury, an average of 1.81 million people watched Indiana Fever games with Clark. Only 847,000 people are watching those same matches without her, a 53% drop that highlights how much this league relies on a single player.
Last Saturday, the Indiana Felines and the Chicago Bravado played on CBS. How many of you knew that? How many of you guys watched this game? 2 months ago, this matchup would have been the leading story throughout the media. But when you don't have the rivalry, when you don't have the storyline of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, this is just another painfully boring pretend basketball game. Unsurprisingly, the Chicago Bravado got their ass kicked.
This terrible reality was aptly demonstrated in the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. Viewership fell 36% from the record-breaking 3.44 million in 2024 to just 2.19 million in 2025, when Clark was unable to attend due to injuries. The kicker is this. That 2025 figure currently stands as the second highest All-Star viewing in league history, which demonstrates just how pitiful the WNBA's ratings were before to Clark's arrival.
35%! WNBA ratings down, All-Star game 35% than last year. Yet you're telling me that it doesn't have to do with Caitlin. 35%. It really makes it difficult for fans of the WNBA in general and Caitlin Clark, like myself, to have conversations, to join a Discord, just to I don't know, want to just talk up the WNBA in general when you can't even give Caitlin the props that she deserves.
As her league's stratospheric rise turns into a meteoric collapse, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is clearly having a hard time sleeping. The woman now faces an even more dreadful possibility after inheriting a crew of 12 and an existential dilemma brought on by the pandemic. A league whose reliance on a single player has been fully revealed.
Man, I miss Caitlin Clark. But all I know for sure about the WNBA is that it had better get Caitlin Clark physically and mentally healthy or risk sliding right back off the national map. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest here. I find it difficult to watch WNBA games without her on the floor. I did watch most of the All-Star game on Saturday night, mostly just to see how she would react as an unofficial coach. But guess what that game turned into? All the other players tried to be Caitlin Clark. That's what
Engelbert has had to contend with growing criticism from all quarters. While attendance and viewership continue to plummet in the absence of the league's biggest draw, players like Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Plum have been outspoken about officiating inconsistently. She has been compelled to openly address these problems, admitting that we must continue to improve in this area and that consistency is essential. Here's the truth, though. Better officiating won't address the underlying issue of the WNBA losing its appeal without Caitlin Clark.
This league has grown the way it's grown, undoubtedly because of Caitlin. She was out of the All-Star game. The tickets to get into the actual event, half off. People went because it literally got chopped in half. If Angel and Caitlin and all the others grew the WNBA, right, then the viewership should have stayed up right now. During this past weekend, it shouldn't have dropped 35% viewership just because Caitlin Clark wasn't able to play.
Subscribe if you're enjoying it. What transpired behind closed doors during collective bargaining negotiations is arguably the most astounding part of this whole story. According to reports, WNBA players rejected a contract that would have increased their maximum wages from $250,000 to $1 million and doubled their minimum salary from $66,000 to $250,000. This offer was referred to as a slap in the face by Phoenix Mercury forward Sata Sabali. Give it some time to sink in. These athletes turned down a deal that would have made them millionaires, despite playing in a league that loses $50 million a year and has never earned a profit in its 28-year history. They reportedly declined a 4-time pay raise while participating in a league that only exists due to NBA subsidies, which total about $15 million a year.
I think we can focus on our players in the union. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. And I think we really have to put an emphasis on the players that are in our league right now. But I love to see the league growing. I think, adding these teams in Philly and Detroit, that's how amazing is that the league can grow. But how cool would it also be to have a little bit expansion on the rosters? Let's focus on the teams that have everything set up right now, and maybe focus on the teams also that find excuses continuously to lack investment into their players before we focus on adding more to the grain of people that can't really be sustained.
One perplexed fan summed up the issue correctly, demonstrating the misconception, which is simply astounding. They therefore refused to pay million-dollar wages in a league that was losing money. Despite playing in a league where the average attendance for a Mercury game sans Clark was 160,000, these guys genuinely believe they are worth NBA money. Although severe, mathematical reality cannot be denied. You cannot charge top dollar for a product that no one wants to watch.
I don't know about this one, ladies. I don't know if this was the wisest decision. I really, really don't. I think you guys might be overstating your value just a bit. I'm a fan. I love Caitlin Clark. It's a bunch of players in this league that I enjoy watching. I think some of you may be overstating your value, and it is about to lead to a flat-out strike and lockout.
Caitlin Clark is not only the WNBA's top star, she is the league, which is a harsh reality that the organization will not face. The evidence is indisputable and overwhelming. In 2024, Clark accounted for 26.5% of the WNBA's total revenue from ticket and retail sales as well as broadcast viewing. Stephen A. Smith of ESPN aptly described Clark as the box office cash cow, pointing out that her absence causes disastrous declines in viewership. Take a look at these startling figures. The Fever's regular season attendance averaged a record 17,036 per game against Clark, which was higher than the attendance for the NBA team from Indiana that uses the same location. With Clark at the top, WNBA product sales increased by 500% overall. 45% of the league's overall broadcast value came from games that included Clark. When Clark's season start against the Chicago Sky drew 2.7 million viewers, it was a particularly revealing example. However, ticket sales fell to as low as $3 when the same teams played without Clark. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will once again be a niche sport that most people overlook, according to the market.
While 1.3 million is great, it is the least watched Felines Bravado game since Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA dump. But I've noticed a trend recently with WNBA ratings. For starters, games not involving the Indiana Felines seem to be struggling. Back in June, the LA Sparkles played the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces on Ion, 459,000 viewers. 2 weeks later, Sparkles Minnesota Linkers on CBS, 702,000. That seems to be the number that the WNBA is averaging when the Indiana Felines are not playing.
The WNBA's issues get even more vexing at this point. The league permitted a culture of targeting to emerge around Clark rather than defending their golden goose. Due in large part to the referees, Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham was compelled to work as an enforcer. It had been building for a few years that they simply weren't shielding the WNBA's top player. The league has systematically and negatively failed to safeguard Clark. Officials did not dismiss Marina Mavery from the game when she knocked Clark to the ground after J.C. Sheldon jabbed him in the eye. Only after receiving criticism from the public the next day did the WNBA up Mabry's foul to a flagrant 2. Former tennis great Chris Evert openly criticized the hostile atmosphere that has been fostered by this trend of permitting extreme aggression against Clark. When will these women recognize, embrace, and value Caitlin Clark as the greatest development in women's basketball history? This presents a negative image of the sport. And how has sportsmanship changed?
Her down, might get a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She going for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money? Stop playing with that girl home. Look, y'all need to start doing is put them emails together with the commissioner to the referees. Don't put y'all damn hands on Caitlin like that. You can foul her, but don't hurt her. And if you
The WNBA works in financial quicksand, which is a brutal reality that players don't seem to be able to comprehend. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver claims that in the league's 28-year history, it has never turned a profit, losing an average of over $10 million a year. Those losses increased to about $50 million in 2024, even though Clark brought with him an unprecedented level of popularity. Currently, the NBA owns roughly 60% of the WNBA and provides about $15 million in yearly subsidies. This ownership increases to 75% when you include NBA owners' individual investments in WNBA teams as well as the league itself. The WNBA owes the NBA so much we won't see any windfall for years, an NBA franchise executive told the New York Post frankly. Because of this economic reality, the demand for player salaries is so ludicrous. They are essentially workers for a business that has annual losses and want to be compensated similarly to those employed by America's most lucrative sports league. This demands mathematical impossibility would be absurd if it weren't so detrimental to the league's future.
The WNBA's latest offer to its players, while dramatically increasing the salary cap and maximum base salaries, which a league source suggested could quadruple to at least $1 million from their current $249,000, follows the same model as the current collective bargaining agreement. These ladies wanted a larger salary cap. Boom, got that. They wanted a larger number when it comes to maximum base salaries. Boom, got that. They want a 50-50 rev share split. Ooh, they don't got that. The owner said, we'll give you this and we'll give you this, but this 50-50, ooh, it's looking dicey.
Now, we're seeing the WNBA revert to its original form as a little-known basketball league supported by NBA philanthropy. The league is experiencing far lower average viewing, fewer attendances, and less social media interaction now that Clark is gone. In Clark's absence, even games with other purported stars, such as Angel Ree, did not draw much attention. In an effort to keep things moving forward, the media has frantically looked for different plot points and has turned to characters like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. However, as one analyst pointed out, while it's a wonderful narrative, neither guys are as famous as CC. The frantic hunt for Clark replacements only serves to emphasize how valuable she is.
I better not hear anybody ever say again that the Indiana Fever is the better team without Caitlin Clark. Like, do you see this score? Do you see the score? The Indiana Fever lost 95-60 last night against the Phoenix Mercury. Like, they got hoed last night. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. A complete embarrassment. Nobody showed up to play except for Sophie Cunningham. Kelsey Mitchell playing tunnel vision basketball, not wanting to pass the ball to anybody. Lexi bricking threes every other possession. AB was ghost town for 4 quarters. Like, I don't know where she was. Literally, she only had 4 points the whole game. Ari McDonald, Dantes, everybody was brick.
Angelbert is currently in a precarious situation. She is dealing with players who appear to be totally out of touch with the realities of the economy, while also witnessing the league's recently discovered popularity evaporating in real time. The commissioner, who previously expressed confidence in growing to 16 teams by 2028, now has to face the prospect that those expansion aspirations could fall apart in Clark's absence. Negotiations for the impending media rights agreement, which will span 11 years and cost roughly $2.2 billion, were heavily influenced by Clark's influence. The worth of that agreement might be called into question if Clark's injuries worsen or if she chooses to quit the league because of the unfriendly atmosphere. Knowing that every game without her hero is another nail in the coffin of the league's mainstream prominence, Angelbert is probably hoping for Clark to return quickly. One may sense the irony. A league that neglected to properly safeguard its most important asset is now entirely reliant on the well-being and health of that asset. As the league's infrastructure collapses under their feet, players are making irrational financial demands, attendance is dropping, and ratings are plummeting. Angelbert's nightmare scenario is unfolding in real time.
No one is watching it without Caitlin Clark. No one watched it before Caitlin Clark. And you can say, oh, Angel Reese. Angel Reese did not bring a single viewer. Okay? Like, she's not good. She misses layups left and right. And it doesn't have to do anything with, I mean, is her social media? No, she just can't play basketball. Okay? She can rebound. That's about it. Caitlin Clark can actually play basketball. And she has the fans that are coming from all of the Midwest and including Iowa and all around the world. Young girls, everybody's starting to watch the league. She's getting a ton of men to watch the WNBA. I'm not saying that men didn't watch it before, but there was a large majority, a large percentage at least, of men that didn't watch the WNBA before Caitlin.
The present WNBA problem is a harsh reminder that professional sports are driven by star power and that phony attempts to minimize individual significance have disastrous results. The league put a lot of effort into portraying its accomplishments as group efforts rather than Clark's fault. And now, that story has blown up in their faces. The players have exposed a basic separation from reality that jeopardizes the league's survival by rejecting a 4-time compensation raise and wanting even more money. While providing WNBA-level viewership, they are requesting NBA-level salary. Additionally, that viewership is reverting to its pre-2024 levels of insignificance on Clark's absence.
Y'all turning down $1 million contracts? You mean to tell me the WNBA offered to pay y'all 4 times more, meaning max players will be getting $1 million contracts? Y'all turned it down? Some of these games are 30-31 at halftime, and y'all turning down $1 million contracts? Are you crazy? Are y'all crazy? Listen, man, look, being stubborn gon' kick y'all in the ass, man. Y'all gotta stop playing games.
How Commissioner Angelbert responds to this issue will ultimately determine her legacy. She may be able to preserve the momentum gained over the previous 12 months if she can persuade Clark to come back and establish a setting where the league's biggest star feels respected and safe. But she will be responsible for the WNBA's decline into oblivion if she keeps letting player illusion influence talks while neglecting to safeguard her most important asset. Just a few months ago, this fate would have seemed unthinkable, but with every day that goes by without Caitlin Clark, it seems more likely. It's an obvious message. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is just another underperforming women's basketball league that the majority of people overlook. There is no deception in the ratings, attendance, or retail sales data. The WNBA's future and present lies with Caitlin Clark. And the league's chances of being relevant in the congested sports entertainment market improve the sooner they accept this fact and take appropriate action.